it takes a while to get ramped up to where you're really hitting on all cylinders. And I think maybe they needed that New York Giants game to kind of a wake up call to like, man, we got what it takes, but we gotta get it going a little bit sooner. And they came out that Cowboys game and they did just that, boy. They put it on right from the start.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Broncos and Bourbon. I'm your host, Phil Milani. Very excited about today's episode as the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater, as I call him, Mr. Hoff, joins the program, and we talk all things Broncos and Texans as we get set for a big-time matchup coming up on Sunday. Bo Nix and company getting ready to face the number one defense in the NFL. This should be a very interesting matchup. And, of course, on the other side of the ball, we get into this a lot with Steve about how the defense is going to try and adjust without PS2, who's out with that pec injury. How will that affect what the Broncos like to do on the defensive side of the ball? A really good conversation. You know, not every day you get to talk with a Hall of Famer, and Steve and I go way back. So really hope that you enjoy this conversation. It feels like Steve just so positive and so enthusiastic about where the Broncos stand at 6-2 here at the halfway point of the season. So I hope that you enjoy this conversation. If you do, please like and subscribe as we continue to grow the Broncos and Bourbon brand. And with that, here's my conversation with Mr. Hoff. Mr. Hoff, as I like to call you, Steve, thank you so much for taking some time to come on the show, man. How you been?
Doing pretty good, Phil Milani. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. First of all, I got to wish you a happy birthday. Your birthday just a couple of days ago, so I hope you had a chance to celebrate in grand style.
Yeah, we went to one of our favorite restaurants here in Denver, and man, we got some good food and had a good time with the family. All was well. Definitely blessed.
That's awesome, Steve. Well, happy birthday. Hope that the fam is doing well. Let's talk about this Broncos team a little bit here. 6-2 at the halfway point of the season here. What stood out to you the most about these first 8 games?
Well, the resilience of the team, because, we've had some situations where, it wasn't necessarily looking like we would be able to pull it out. And, guys continue to work hard, continue to grind, and they were able to pull out some of those games. I know when we went over to London, there was a super close game, but in the end, they ended up winning it. And I always say an ugly win is better than a beautiful loss any day of the week, man. So, they just, I think they've showed a lot of resilience, and, they're hanging in there together, playing until the end. Remember the one game when we were down and we came back, scored 33 in the
Giants,
the Giants game. Yeah. And I never personally attended a game where that many points were scored in one quarter. And that was amazing to see, because I thought, man, halfway through the fourth quarter, like, man, they probably got us. But the interception and then, the scores, that was a shoot. That was a great game to watch too.
Well, Steve, what does that tell you about a team, the resiliency? Like, because I agree with you, like that Giants game, like the first 3 quarters, I was like, what is wrong with this team? Like, Bo looks out of it, the play calling, like the fans were getting upset in the stadium. And then all of a sudden it turns around and they look like they are like the best team in the NFL. So I'm like, what does it tell you about a team when they are that resilient?
Well, it tells you that they have what it takes to win. And I think that to send the message to them too, that, man, look, we were down. We were basically out of the game, but we made enough plays offensively, defensively, and special teams wise to where we got back in the game and we won the game. Not that we didn't only make it close, but we actually came back and won. And it's hard to do in the NFL, man. These games are difficult to win. So, my hat's off to the guys and the coaches for hanging in there to the end. And that's a lesson learned, because I remember fourth quarter, I saw a lot of fans leaving the game. And I know they got home. They're like, "Oh my goodness, why I shouldn't have left."
yeah, trying to get back in the stadium, like after a couple touchdowns there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I mean
did feel like
that's a good lesson just on finishing and a lesson that hey, it is not over until it's actually over.
Yeah, it did feel like that was a big deal that they came back and won, even though it seemed like maybe the Giants were going to sneak out of there. But yeah, they got that done, and maybe that was a turn. Do you feel like that was a turning point maybe in the season, Steve? I know it's still so early, but the way that the Broncos came out last week against the Cowboys, they looked like maybe they had learned some stuff from the week before.
Yeah, I think so, and I think each team, every year it takes a while to get ramped up to where you're really hitting on all cylinders. And I think maybe they needed that New York Giants game to kind of a wake up call to like, man, we got what it takes, but we gotta get it going a little bit sooner. And they came out that Cowboys game and they did just that, boy. They put it on right from the start.
Yeah. And Sean Payton continues to prove that like October is his month. His record all time in October is amazing. So maybe it does take a little while for his teams to really ramp up and get going. Obviously, the Broncos now, they've won 5 straight. They seem like they're in a great position here heading down in the second half of the season. Steve, I'm curious because you are on so many great teams that won a lot of games in a row. When it's rolling like that, how do you avoid feeling like a little overconfident? Because now maybe it'd be easy for this Broncos team to show up and say, "Hey, we got this."
I mean, they can have the overconfidence within the locker room. I don't think that's a problem. Mm. I think it'll become a problem if they start verbalizing it and then letting the other team hear it and then giving the other team, that material. You don't want to give any bulletin board material to get those guys fired up. So. But yeah, I definitely think having that on the verge of cockiness inside the locker room is a good thing. But it also goes with a ton of continued hard work and practicing the way that you want to play. Practicing full speed and executing properly in practice and making sure that there aren't mental errors in practice to make sure that it carries over to the game. It's not just the cockiness; it's also the work that goes along with it.
Yeah, like it's okay to know you're good, but hey, still work hard.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And again, just keep that cockiness among the team. You don't have to tell anybody else about it. The outside world needs to know nothing about it. Just know that you can go anywhere and win, regardless of who the opponent is, regardless of what day it is, regardless of what time it is. They can wake us up at 3:00 in the morning. We're still going to come in there. We're going to kick some butt wherever it is. But again, like I said, hopefully they can just keep that to themselves, but have that confidence that they can get it wherever they're playing.
I know those Super Bowl teams you played on, they had some cockiness in that locker room, huh?
Oh, 100%, 100%. But we tried not to say much. I remember it was Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl we were playing against the Packers, and I remember some of the guys in the locker room heard some of the stuff that the Packers were saying in their meeting, and we were trying to be low key, like, "Oh yeah, man, we don't know how we're going to beat these guys," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna put up 30 points or whatever," and we felt a little disrespected. And so some of our guys started talking. We're like, no, don't do that, man. Don't.
Yeah.
Keep your cool to game time. Keep your cool to game time.
And you guys are underdogs in that matchup. So, yeah, I'm sure that you felt that chip. Okay, well, I want to ask you a lot about the defense. I'll do that in a second. But first, let's talk about Bo Nix a little bit here. His second season, it seems like he's avoided this so-called sophomore slump. It seems like he's somehow continuing to grow and improve and really has rallied this team to really take on his personality. What have you seen from Bo this year?
Well, Bo's a smart guy. He's a guy that his teammates love, and he's a great leader, even though he's just in his second year. He's he knows what to say and when to say it, and he also backs the talk up with his play on the field. And You ask any player, any person who's talking a lot has got to be playing well, because you can't say much in the locker room if you're blowing assignments and you're not doing your part. So that's the first thing, doing his part. He's been doing that really well. Again, I think he had another 4 touchdown game. That's his second one in his career. Not many quarterbacks have done that. So especially this early on in his career. So he's playing well, and offensive line is playing well. But the thing is, it's like you're only as good as your last game in the NFL, because you still got 9 games to go, and you got to take them one at a time, one game at a time, and you got to leave it out there on the field. So Bo, again, he's just super impressive, smart. And definitely has avoided that sophomore slump. I think he's proven that he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, even when games haven't started off necessarily the best way. They end up, going in his favor, and he ends up having a good game. And got to give the receivers credit. They're making some great catches, and good run after the catch. And R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins and Tyler Bidet, those guys are doing a great job out the backfield. It all goes together. And, when you have a bunch of great players, sometimes it's difficult for them to put it all together, because you're trying to figure out who you're going to focus on. But, when you start getting the ball to Evan Ingram, and then J.K. Dobbins has a nice run, and then a throw to Cortland or to Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant, it's like, man, we got some weapons.
Yeah.
And, you see that once it gets going, and you're not making the mistakes, not having the penalties that set you back. So we got a glimpse of that this last game. And again, hopefully they've, gotten over the start of the season, and they can be in midseason form here going against a tough Houston defense.
I think that you said a lot of good things there. I want to kind of unpack some of those things. You said a lot of good things, though, Steve. But you brought up some really good points. First of all, you said that it's a week-by-week league. I couldn't agree with you more, because up until last week, it kind of felt like, okay, he's had some great moments, but like he hasn't put it all together quite yet. Like there's still some growing pains there. And then all of a sudden, I guess the Cowboys, after that kind of performance, you're like, okay, he's a top 5 guy in the league. Like, it's just every week you kind of like ride this roller coaster of emotion. Before we move on past that Giants game, though, there's been some buzz around town. Like, man, that feeling in the stadium, that energy kind of reminded people of what John Elway used to do. Did it feel like that a little to you, Steve? Because I'll admit, I was really skeptical. I was like, no, that's not what John did. But then last week I was talking to my dad, and he said that kind of felt like John. And I was like, what? Even you, like, are you feeling that kind of energy?
Well, the thing is, it's like when John was on the field, especially when the clock was ticking down, we all knew we had a chance. We always felt like, bro, we're gonna score. John's gonna throw a touchdown. Mark Jackson, Shannon Sharp, Ross Smith, somebody's gonna catch this pass, and we're gonna score a touchdown. And that's the feeling that we got, especially this last game, where there was a little bit of disbelief, but they kept coming back, kept making plays. Again, Justice Trinop, that interception, and then the last couple of touchdowns, Bo Nix runs a touchdown in, and we're like, oh my goodness, we're in it. And that's an amazing feeling, man, because I remember us being on the sideline, we'd be holding hands, looking at each other now like, we got this.
Yeah. And that can help the whole team, right? Like when you've got that belief that, hey, when the defense gets back out there, you're like, we can't let John down, we can't let Bo down, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And really, it's the whole team, right? I mean, because each of us, when you're on the field, you're thinking about your teammates, but you got to take care of your job first. If you're not doing your job, you can't do anything about your team. You can't help your teammates. The best thing you can do to help your teammates is execute as an individual.
Yeah.
Be your best as an individual, and then a bunch of individuals, 11 individuals together, make a great team.
Yeah, yeah. I will say the one thing is John was doing that like against really high quality competition in the playoffs. I'm not sure if the Giants are quite there yet, but still, nonetheless, the feeling was the same. Okay, and then another thing you said there, you talked about the playmakers around Bo starting to step up. It did feel like against the Cowboys, Pat Bryant made a nice touchdown catch there. Troy Franklin really starting to emerge. I
Yeah.
know that Sean Payton said this week that the Broncos are really going to rely on these guys down the stretch here. Does it feel like some of these young guys are starting to really turn a corner here?
Oh, most definitely. And, we saw it in training camp, just the talent amongst this group. And, Courtney Sutton, he's been playing lights off football. And I told him one day after practice, man, I love that run after the catch, man, because these guys, most of these guys, he's 6'3", 250 pounds. They don't want to tackle you, man. You run them, truck them, step on them. And I know he's, super concerned about making sure he holds on to that ball. That's number one. But, man, I've been so proud of him too. And, his leadership, he's always been so steady. And then to have the other weapons in the room with him, I know he's happy about that. Troy Franklin is developing, he's making great catches and, enjoying the game. Great run after the catch as well. Pat Bryant, the same thing. We just, Marvin Mims, get handoffs, running back punts and kicks. Next thing you know, he's going to be throwing the ball or something. I mean, it's just a really a fun group to watch. And then, to know that they're still pretty young too is really encouraging for the future.
Yeah, I thought in particular Pat Bryant, we haven't seen much from him, but it seems like when the ball comes his way, his hands, he just doesn't drop some of these passes. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And, that's, Pat Bryant, what he showed in training camp and in preseason is a big reason why I think they traded Devon Bailey. So excited to see how Pat comes along. And you mentioned the running game too. I mean, Dobbins has been outstanding. And then now RJ Harvey showed that home run ability that he has, huh?
Yeah. And as you know, when you're on offense, the defense is on the sidelines, we need a little bit of rest, so we need y'all to keep it going, and being able to run the ball, man, that's such a huge plus. And shout out to J.K. Dobbins. Also, shout out to that O line, man. That O line, they've been dogs up there, man. And that's a beautiful thing because I've been on the other side of that, where we couldn't stop the run, and I know how demoralizing that is for a defense when the offense can just run at will. And you're like, man, what can we do? We cannot stop the run. And then, you're trying to stop the run and then trying to stop the run. And then they hit you with a play action pass and it just sets everything up. So I love that, they've got that going. And J.K. Dobbins has a couple of 100-yard games and RJ Harvey is coming in doing this thing, man. It's just a great feeling, especially knowing how hard these guys work.
Yeah, I saw one shot on the Dobbins run. Everybody's been paying attention to Quinn Miners pancaking these guys, but I saw a picture of Garrett Bowles and that face mask he has. Man, that thing looked scary to me, Steve. I mean, I want no business of that. Him running full speed down the field. No thanks. Just go ahead, score. Just go ahead.
Hey, man, Garrett Bowles is one of those guys you do not want to meet in the alley after midnight. You're going to have some problems, man. And I can't imagine what it's like going against him in the game, man, because he's a dog, man. And I love him. He's a great guy. He loves his teammates, and he goes out there and leads on the field every single play as well.
Yeah, you got to feel for a guy like Garrett because when he first came to Denver, those holding calls, the fans were getting on him so much, but he's really turned into, he's going to be a lifelong Bronco, I think. So, that's a testament to how hard he's worked. So,
and I always say, all offensive linemen hold some as a defense
That's
player.
true.
That's what
A
I
little
say.
bit. I know you know that. Of course
Hey,
they do. Yeah.
you got. That's part of the game. You're not holding. You're not playing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how DBs, man, they're always interfering a little bit. It's just what's a penalty or not.
Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't
You
matter.
got to
We
do a
got to
little.
test the limit to see what the refs are going to call, right?
Exactly. Feel it out a little bit. Yeah. Well, I think everybody's excited this week to see this Broncos offense go up against this Houston defense. That Houston defense is number one in the league in yards allowed and points allowed. Steve, how do you think that this matchup's going to play out?
It's a great matchup, and our offense is gonna have its hands full. We know that, but I think if we stick to our P's and Q's, we gotta establish the run game. Can't get away from it. Bo Nix, is gonna have to scramble some because we know they may get a little bit of pressure on him. But he's great at that. He's great at scrambling. He makes good decisions. He's an accurate passer. So we just have to play our game plan, and I think we'll be fine. But it's going to be a good game though. Good competition. They have a number one defense in the league right now, and so it's not going to be easy. But nothing worth having is easy anyway. So
that's true. Good point, Steve. It is going to be a test, I don't think, to see how patient this offense could be. Like, are they going to get frustrated? Are they going to stay committed to trying to run the football? I think that this is going to be a good test just to see if the Broncos can stay committed to their game plan, or if they feel like they get a little bit antsy and feel like they have to do something and mix it up. I think that we're going to see a good test because I think they only give up just over 14 points a game. So it is going to be.
And again, this is a game where also our defense is going to have to step up and be, that'd be a top game for them as well, because their offense, they can put some points on the board. But if we're playing well, if we're, not jumping off sides, not having these penalties that hurt us, then we're going to be right there. We're going to be right in the game, right when it counts. And, everybody be biting their nails when the clock is ticking down.
Yeah.
And it'll be another great game.
I do hope that Bo uses his legs a little bit more, because I do think that he's dynamic when he starts getting out of the pocket, when he starts applying pressure on the defense, when he's a threat to run the ball. I do think that that's a different dynamic.
As a defensive player, that's one of the things you hated more than anything. You'd be covering everybody's cover. You're like, yeah, we got him. And then you see the quarterback take off. You're like, oh, no. We don't have a guy allocated for him.
Yeah. It almost like on third down, you can't play man, just because he could take off, right?
Right. Or you can play man, then you got to maybe rush 3 or, just rush 4 and have somebody allocated to him.
Yeah. He's a threat with those legs. Okay, let's talk about the Broncos defense here. Everything was great against the Cowboys, but losing PS2 though with the pec injury, how is that going to impact what Vance Joseph likes to do on that side of the ball?
Well, I'm not sure how it will impact. I'm not sure if that it'll change up a ton. We know there'll be some young corners getting some action. And I look at it like an opportunity to show what you can do, because, there'll be some players playing that we haven't seen a ton, and now we'll get a chance to see. And will they be like PS2? Probably not, but they can still be the best version of themselves. And we have yet to see what that's going to look like in a game against, an NFL team. So I'm looking forward to it. And, I don't know if there'll be a huge drop off in the level of play, because the guys are coached well and they've been working hard, and I'm looking forward to somebody coming out there and having a great defensive game.
Well, I will say it does feel like sometimes the Broncos like to just put Pat on a guy and say, okay, you're not going to be a huge factor in this game, like that allows Vance to kind of bring some pressure different ways, like Vance loves to dial up, some of those safety blitzes, corner blitz, something like that. Now, especially with a guy like Nico Collins out there, if he's able to go, like now it's just going to change some stuff, right? Like maybe you're not as aggressive. Maybe you got to think twice before, like, just as great as Riley's been this year, he's just not like Pat was the defensive player of the year, right? So like there's going to have to be something, I feel like, or maybe you think twice in some situations before just saying Riley's got this, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they may just have left corner, right corner. You may not. So they'll get a chance to play against different guys. Yeah, you don't necessarily travel with them. So, but at any rate, I know they're going to have a great defensive game plan, and who knows what it's going to look like? Who knows what who's going to be covering who? But I just have confidence that we're going to come out and have a good overall game. And hey, if the offense has to score more points, hey, you got to score more points.
Got to do it.
Especially if you got to make a play. Especially got to make a play.
Complimentary football, that's for sure. I did think that Chris Abrams drained out there last week when Pat went out. He played nicely. So, it's interesting. Like, do you play more conservative knowing that Pat's not there, or do you try to be more aggressive to help your cornerbacks out by dialing up some different pressure and making C.J. Stroud uncomfortable? So,
yeah, I think you gotta have a combination of the two. There'll be times where they want to have them get the ball out quickly, and hey, we may be sending the house, and then other times they want to sit back in zone and make sure that nobody gets past anyone. So I'm sure it'll be a nice combination of them all. VJ's not going to give too much. Not going to tell too much too early.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw, they were asking Sean, "Hey, is Jahdae Barron going to move outside a little bit?" And he was like, "Why would I tell you that? Who knows?" Right. I got to ask you about Talanoa Hufanga. How do you like his game? What do you think he's brought to this Broncos defense? Just as a safety. What do you think about how he's come into Denver here?
Yeah, man, I love Huff, man. I remember one of the first interviews that he gave. I was at the press conference and just listened to him, and like, man, this is an awesome guy. And I got a chance to meet him a few times and talk to him, and he's just a solid person, And in addition to that, when you turn on the film, you see how he flies around to the ball, how when I say reckless, it's in a good way. How he's not worried about getting injured. He's out there trying to make plays from the start of the whistle to the end, and from the start of the play to the end of the whistle. And that's the kind of guys you need on your team. He motivates guys. I remember playing with Dennis Smith, and I'm running over to make a tackle, and Dennis Smith comes flying by me and just slapped into a guy, and I'm thinking, man, great play, but I'm thinking I gotta be better. I gotta go faster because Dennis, he apparently was playing harder than me on that play. I gotta pick it up. And so that can be inspiring for other players, his style of play, man. And again, I love most of the guys on the team. We got a bunch of great guys on this team too, man. That's the heartwarming part, knowing that they're such great players, but they're also great human beings.
Yeah. What are those conversations like when a new safety comes to town? They see Steve Atwater. What are those? I know you don't like to, talk too much to these guys and be like, back in the day, I did this. But what are those conversations?
None of that.
What are those talks like, though?
It's just really just hello and that. It's not anything too deep with playing a safety position. They're coaches. They're telling them one thing, and I don't want to be, telling them something else. So we don't even get into that. We don't go down that road. And I just encourage them, to, hey, give it your all. I'm here if you ever need anything. But yeah, I don't want to be that person, trying to, out-coach the coaches and, oh man, he should have you doing that. Nah. I'm later for that.
But it's got to be cool for him, though, to see Steve Atwater. I mean, a Hall of Famer coming through here.
But I mean, it's cool for me too, though. Get a chance to meet him and interact with him and know that he's a great guy. And that means a lot because some football players think that because you play football that you're better than other people, and I've never bought into that. It's like, hey, we're all people. We're all trying to figure this thing out. And, I'm no better than the next man. I mean,
anybody who knows you, Steve, knows that
I'm,
you're super humble, man. Yeah, of course. You don't act like you're Steve Atwater, but that is for sure. I will say though, Hafunga, he may be a nice guy off the field, but when he's on the field,
oh boy,
he's a different kind of guy. Do you feel like good defenses need to have some of those kind of players on the field where, I guess the best word to say is they're a little bit feared, like it feels like, for example, when you played, obviously you were that sort of intimidating presence, but also, Romo brought sort of an edge to that defense. Do you feel like you got to have somebody like that, right?
A couple guys with some little screams. That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I think that for like Super Bowl 50, like Aqib Talib was kind of like that, like a little bit, just got that edge to him, I think is how I would say it.
Yeah, most definitely. You gotta have several guys on your team that, they aren't scared of getting hurt, or you're not necessarily concerned about, looking pretty. I just got to get the job done. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how it looks, just get the job done. And some guys are mild-mannered. Some guys are, they talk a lot of trash, but they get the job done. And you got to have those guys in the trenches. You got to have them in the secondary. You got to have them on the corner, at the corner position. It doesn't matter where they are. But you got to have some of those guys on the team. Yeah.
Like as an offensive player, you got to be like, oh, there's Huff. Like he's coming. Like, I don't want, like, we got to know where some of those guys are, it makes you think twice a little bit. Yeah. That's why I think it's important. Okay, Steve, I just had a couple more for you here. Halloween is coming up. Are you a big Halloween guy? Like, I think the Broncos had their Halloween party this week. I'm imagining some of your teams had some great Halloween parties.
Yeah, we did back in the day. The teams, they normally held Halloween parties, I believe, over at the facility. And we had some great memories. I remember our kids going to them. I don't remember what outfits we had on. Man, I don't even remember what outfit.
Come on, Steve. I want to know what you dressed up like. I want to know, what was your go-to costume?
Jeez. I don't know if I had one.
Okay.
Maybe Frankenstein or something. Something crazy.
Yeah.
Or Mr. T with a gold chain,
Yes, I like that. And then I know you're a big candy guy. So what's your go-to candy? I know that you.
Oh man, come on, Phil! Don't tell everybody that.
With you, I know.
And then like people know that I love popcorn, and unfortunately I have a sweet tooth, and so everybody gives me popcorn for different occasions. I'm like, man, I'm trying to stop eating popcorn so much, but I'm gonna stop after I finish, the popcorn gift there. But my favorite candy is these little fruits. Well, not fruits, but they say they're fruits, but they're not fruit. It's like
a fruit snack.
I guess it is. It's like dried mangoes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these things I order too many of them, and I eat too many of them. And I tell myself it's healthy because it's a fruit.
It's mango, but it's maybe some added sugar.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of sugar. A little bit of sugar.
Just a little bit. Okay. All right. Halloween coming up on Friday. I know that's big for you, Steve. So, and then last one on the Broncos here. We're at the halfway point of the season, 6-2. They've shown a lot here. Do you feel like they're the threat to win, like the division? They're going to be a threat in the AFC overall here? Or are you still sort of, let's see what the Chiefs do here?
Well, the Chiefs are still in it. They're only one game behind. Them and the Chargers, they're only one game behind us. So, I don't want us to get cocky, but definitely feel good about it. But we got to continue to do what we've been doing what's gotten us here. And what's gotten us here is offense, being able to run that ball, defense playing exceptionally well, and special teams not giving up a bunch of big plays. We had a couple of runs we gave up, but no touchdowns and no big plays, so no super big plays. So we got to take that and make that ours. Put that stamp on our chest. This is who we are. We're going to be effective on the offense. We're not going to beat ourselves. and we're going to be dominant, and we're going to play passionate football, and and regardless of what it looks like in the end, we're gonna get the dub.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been an interesting first half. Like, I think some people you talk to, like, their perspective is, hey, they're 2 last second field goals away from being undefeated, you know? So there's that feel. But at the same time, they're like a magical comeback against the Giants, against the Eagles, away from, you know, having 4 losses. So, like, I think those things tend to even out.
I think it's a skill though to be able to finish games and win them too. I mean, because like I said, they could have just have easily been a loss, and then we'd be sitting here complaining, "Oh man, we're what?
4-4,
3-4, 4-4, yeah. I mean, so we much rather be in this situation and learn from those instances and continue to play better than lose those games and then be scrambling at the end of the season. So I think we're in a good spot right now. That 6-2 looks real good, but again, we can't take it for granted. Can't take it easy because, like I say, the Chiefs and Chargers are right behind us.
Yeah, 6-2. I mean, that's a great spot to be at this point in the season. So I think that things are shaping up nicely. But yes, some of these other teams in the AFC in particular, they've got off to rough starts, and now it feels like maybe they're rounding into form. So we'll have to see how things play out here. And it is such a week-to-week league, like we mentioned. You know, like, you could be feeling good here at Halloween, but talk to me at Thanksgiving, talk to me, you know, at Christmas, and things could be so different. So you just don't know. So that's the beauty of the sport. So, Steve, before we say goodbye,
that's why we love it, man. That's why we love it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, some technical difficulties there. We're back, though. Sorry about that, everybody here. But, okay, Steve, I did want to wrap up by asking you some rapid-fire questions here, okay? So this is all about you.
I'm not good at rapid-fire, man. Go ahead.
What was your favorite away stadium to play at?
San Diego Chargers.
Really? You're the second time I've had that. What was so fun about going down to San Diego?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily the stadium as much as it was like San Diego is like a beautiful city here in the U.S. And, you know, we get a chance to go out and get some dinner and just see how you know, the weather was always great there. And, you know, my good friend, Junior Seau, he was there. He was alive back then. And so it was a good time.
It's hard to beat San Diego. The weather there is so nice. And, yeah, it's a shame that the NFL is no longer there. So that's a bummer. But, okay, what was the best part about playing as a professional football player in the NFL?
Relationships that we had been in the locker room and, you know, having to interact with so many different people with so many different personalities. I think it prepares you for whatever life throws at you. You've dealt with it in some form or fashion throughout the locker room and, you know, all the experiences in the NFL. So, yeah, relationships, man.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Good answer, of course. Okay, and then along your football journey, when did you know that the NFL was going to be a possibility for you?
Oh, man. Well, back when I was in college, one of my good friends who he graduated, I think it was 3 years before I did, and he played strong safety. His name is Greg Lasker. He got drafted by the New York Giants. And crazy thing is that rookie year, they went to the Super Bowl and they played against the Broncos, and he brought me back a hat from the Super Bowl. And he was drafted in the second round by them. And, you know, I was like, man, he got drafted in the second round. I'm like, maybe I get drafted in the third or fourth round, you know. But I saw that it was a possibility, you know, having played with them and having seen all the hard work that he put in. And, man, after he got drafted, bro, I'm telling you, I got locked in. Like, no more parties. I'm not going out. I'm not drinking. I'm going to try to go to the NFL. We'll get this thing a shot. Yeah, and that was it, man. I had an idea that I could possibly do it, and I just put everything in, and unfortunately, I got drafted by Denver in '89.
So just seeing one guy having his dream come true, you're like, can't happen. This is possible.
Yeah, yeah. Him and also one of my buddies from high school. He ended up going to the Seattle Seahawks. He was in that same class, and Bobby Joe Edmonds. Man, it was crazy. And those guys would come back on campus, and I'd be questioning. I have 1,000 questions for them, and they were so patient.
That's amazing to me because obviously first round pick, Hall of Famer. Like you would think that at such a younger age that it would just be like, yeah, I got this. But
no,
that was never that.
I was not that cocky. I wasn't, and I wasn't sure. Because you see guys who even I saw it in college where guys come to college, they're great high school athletes. They come to college and then they lose interest in it. And then some guys who are great college players, they get the opportunity to play, but they don't even want to play. Some of the guys say, I've had enough, man. I'm done. I'm hanging it up. It wasn't a shoe-in, and I knew how much I loved the game. I know how much time I put into it, but I still had a lot of questions, man. I still had a lot to learn. And, fortunately, I had good coaches. My rookie year, Charlie Waters was my head coach, and I know he had played, and man, everything he said, I was listening, hanging on every word he said, man.
yeah, of course.
I'm like, hey, if he says this, I'm doing it. I don't have any questions. I'm doing it. You run through that brick wall. Okay, gotcha, coach. I'm doing it.
And that mentality is probably why you were so great, Steve. Just constantly working, and you mentioned your love for the game, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah, and it was like there weren't nearly as many distractions then as there are now for players. Social media wasn't a thing. I think cell phones had probably just come out. So we could focus on football. We could focus on football and get locked in. And it was a ton of fun. It was a great journey though, man. I enjoyed it.
Of course. Okay. What's your favorite team that you're a fan of away from football?
You mean sport?
Yeah, like a team that you're like, it's away from football, and you're just like sort of like, I grew up a fan of this team, and I just stayed, or like now you're a fan, you love watching them, anything like that.
To be honest, I mean, no, I being here in Denver, I'm a Nuggets fan, Rockies fans, Avs fan, but I played basketball in high school. I ran track, but I was just a football guy, really. And I remember, like, I could have gone to college and played basketball, but I told my high school coach, like, anybody who comes in and asks me about basketball, I don't want to play. I'm 100% football, and I'm kind of like that now. Although I'm fans, I'm not avid fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm a football guy.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite basketball player growing up or anything?
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
MJ, man, yeah. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, but they didn't recruit me. So
wow. Man, that's crazy. What position did you play?
I played forward, but I know I couldn't have played that. I was 6'4", there's these point guards at that height.
Yeah, exactly. I think you made the right choice, Steve. It worked out.
Most definitely.
Okay, and then the very last one for you here. After a very long day, you made some popcorn, you're ready to relax. What do you like to do? You watch TV, or how do you unwind, Steve?
Jazz music, man. Just, I have a couple of stations, jazz music and some R&B music. I got a couple of stations on YouTube where, I'll just turn it on and just relax, man. Relax and sit on my couch, look out the window, sit out with the wife. Yeah, have a nice relaxing evening.
Well, I love it, Steve. Who's your favorite artist? Do you have like somebody that you always like to go to, or just mix it up?
Not really. It's just, these different artists, they make a compilation of, different musicians. And, that's my go-to more so than just one particular person. I listen to a bunch of different people.
All right. Well, awesome, Steve. Thank you so much for your time, man. It's so great to catch up with you as always. And, I love you, man. So thank you so much for coming on. And it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, you too, Phil, man. I love you. You're my brother, man. We had some great times together, and I appreciate you inviting me on, man. Good stuff.
My thanks to Steve Atwater for spending some time on the program. Always love getting to talk football with Steve. He's just so positive, so enthusiastic, and just such a nice guy. You would never, ever think that this guy was a ruthless defensive specimen, physical, guy out there on the field. He's just the nicest guy that you could ever meet, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. So enjoyed everything that he said there about the Broncos here. Really agreed that this is just such a week-to-week league, and so many times through this 5-game winning streak, I'd wake up on Monday and be like, they won the game, but I just don't feel like they're that good. Like they have so many periods during the game where things just aren't going well. And then after this Cowboys game, and really after that fourth quarter against the Giants, it felt like something changed here, and they just put it all together against the Cowboys, and that was the best game that this Broncos team has played in a very, very long time. Offensively, they were doing whatever they wanted to, and then defensively, they made Dak Prescott's life very difficult, and that's a good offense. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens. I mean, this is a good offense that the defense really shut down in a lot of ways. So that was the best game. And then finally, I woke up feeling like, man, this Broncos team is starting to figure it out. We'll see if that continues, right? Such a week-to-week league. Things could change here. Going up against the Texans defense that really only gives up 2 touchdowns a game, 14 points a game. And the key to me is, will this Broncos team, will the offense be patient enough to stick with what they know wins, right? That's running the football, being patient, taking some deep shots when they're there, not trying to force the ball. Too many times when you're facing a good defense, you go a couple 3-and-outs, you start to get a little frustrated, feel like maybe you need like a trick play, you need a force issue, you need a spark, right? And that's when you could turn the ball over and you put your whole team in a tough spot. And this Broncos team's gonna have to be patient against the Texans, just because it can be frustrating. As we know, in that Giants game, in those first 3 quarters, nothing's going well. You start to feel a little antsy, and that can happen, especially on the road too, where the crowd's getting into it. They love what their defense is doing. Can you stay patient? Can you stay committed to the running game? Because I think that for this Broncos team, when that running game really gets going, that opens up a lot of stuff. All of a sudden, Troy Franklin is running wide open. Pat Bryant is making big time catches, in addition to what Cortland Sutton's been able to do this year. So that's the formula. Can you stick with it? And maybe Bo, like Steve said, maybe he uses his legs a little bit. To me, the big thing is, how are they going to adjust without PS2? Because he's the defensive player of the year. You're going to feel his absence, and especially because the way the Broncos like to play defense, they put PS2 on a guy, or they say this half of the field shut down on this play, right? And it allows you to scheme so many other ways. You can bring extra pressure. You can help out on the other side. And I just think that when you're missing a guy like that, it's going to change what you're going to have to do schematically. And, are the Broncos going to try and be more aggressive to make CJ Stroud off his game and make it so that Riley Moss, Chris Abrams, Drain doesn't have to cover as long? How are they going to use Jahdae Barron? A guy who's capable of playing outside and inside. They're going to have to make some adjustments, and especially in the secondary where chemistry is so important, it's going to be interesting just to see how they adjust. And they were able to do it in the second half against the Cowboys, and interesting to see with a week of preparation for the Texans, knowing that Pat isn't going to be out there, are they able to scheme some things up against this Broncos defense? It's going to be interesting to see what VJ does, and if they're able to limit what Stroud and Nico Collins and what these guys are able to do on the offensive side, like this Broncos team can get the win. So, 5 games in a row, the Broncos have won. They're getting in a rhythm here. Does it continue another week? Does it continue on the road? It feels, it's been a while since they played a true road game, that Eagles game. So, just see how things unfold here in Houston. And speaking of Houston, one quick story about playing in Houston. Of course, that's where Peyton Manning set the touchdown record through his 51st touchdown pass there to Julius Thomas in 2013. I just remember being so there's so much energy in that Broncos locker room afterward and so much excitement that it was my job in the press conference when Peyton got up there to hit record on the camera. And I was so locked into what he was saying, I forgot to hit record. And I remember a couple of minutes into that press conference, I was like, ah! And I hit record. And it's just a favorite memory. And just that whole day, you had a feeling that Peyton was going to set the record that day. That offense was rolling. So a couple of touchdowns was going to be no problem. And then, just that moment, you just felt like, wow, you're witnessing history in person. And so that's just a favorite memory of the Broncos playing in Houston. And we'll see what happens this week. Another favorite memory, but this sounds strange, but that Drew Lock game when he was first came onto the scene and threw a bunch of touchdowns and the Broncos blew out a pretty good Texans team. That's interest. That was an interesting memory because you're like, oh, maybe the Broncos found their guy. That was also in Houston. And just overall, there's a lot of Houston Broncos recent connections there. Of course, Gary Kubiak, coached the Texans for a long time, came to Denver and won a Super Bowl. That's where DT got traded to. And remembering that game when the Texans came back the very next week, played in Denver, DT's billboard was still up on the stadium and they left it. Just a lot of crossover with the Texans, and interesting to see what unfolds, if maybe there's going to be a new chapter coming up this Sunday when the Broncos head to Houston. So I don't have a bourbon review, but I do have some shout outs that I wanted to get to here. These are all from after the Ryan Harris episode last week. Already know, he comments and says, been watching Phil since 2012. You can tell how good of a guy he is. Thank you. I think I'm a pretty good guy. But he says it's because of the guests that we get on this show, friends in the media, former Broncos players. I think that's what sort of makes this show interesting, right? I try to, bring out new guests every single week so you get a different perspective. What Steve says today, different than what Ryan Harris said last week, what Chris Harris said a couple of weeks ago. I feel like different perspectives makes the show interesting. And so, already know. Thank you very much for that comment. The next shout out, Drock Fritz 4971, talking about Ryan Harris last week. Ryan has great insight, legendary perspective, top tier guest, and great questions, Phil. Thank you very much. I do think that Ryan, so polished. You could tell that he works a lot in the media, and he just does a great job. And a lot of great one-liners and memorable moments in that episode. So somebody else did comment that my questions lingered a little bit last week. I agree. Sometimes I can kind of get in my head as I'm asking a question, and it goes a few different directions. We'll try and make those a little bit punchier here next week. And then thank you for that, Doc Fritz. And then the last comment here from Crade100. Great ep as always. Love the insights. German Broncos faithful. So podcast making it to Germany. Thank you very much, Crade100. We hope to bring you a lot more guests the rest of the way this season. It feels weird. 6-2. You feel like the Broncos have done so much so far, but really it's just a halfway point. And from now on is when you really can tell what a team is going to be like. They've worked through the ups and downs that they've, some of the get it slow out of the gate, that kind of thing. But now, this next month, this Broncos team is going to be way different from Halloween to Thanksgiving, and then again from Thanksgiving to the end of the season. It's almost like a couple of new seasons still left to unfold here, and you just learn more and more about the team and how it comes together and what's about to happen and what's about to unfold here. But certainly, sitting at 6-2. it feels like the Broncos have done a lot of really good things and are in a great position here moving forward. And I think you got to just have a lot of confidence in how Bo's been able to work through these ups and downs and still find a way to win some of these games. And that's what it takes sometimes, is to get through some of those ups and downs. But you also have to have some of those games like the Cowboys game where you put it all together and it doesn't come right down to the wire, because that can be really exhausting for a team. So I think you're feeling good right now at 6-2, and you're going to face a lot of challenges the rest of the way. But at halfway point, I think sitting at 6-2, you got there's a lot to be confident about with what this Broncos team is doing here. I do think it's going to be interesting, though, see what these other AFC teams are like, because feels like the Chiefs have also worked through their issues. Lamar Jackson is getting healthy in Baltimore, and the Bills still the Bills there, and New England is playing well. So, and of course the Colts. Who would have saw that coming? So there's still a lot left to be written this year, but you got to feel good about where the Broncos are right now. So I hope you liked this episode. Hearing from a Hall of Famer. If you do, please like and subscribe as we continue to grow the channel. But that's going to do it for us. For Broncos and Bourbon, I am your host, Phil Milani.